Hello, Jimjamatic here. Welcome to the very, very last episode of Series 5 reviews. It's not really a review, it is a review of the entire series, so to speak, because of course it is the awards. No red carpet for most of these robots, it's just me and my guest just picking one or two of our favourites, with the exception of the piece of shit award, which will have many options. Joining me once again, actually, straight from the well, I guess not straight from, but I guess as you're watching these in order, straight from the semi-final B and grand final episode, it is Jevan Woodrow. I got your name right.
Yay!
From World
I
of
haven't
Woodrow.
left. I've been here all week.
Oh yeah, he's been sat there waiting for this, desperately waiting for this call.
I've just been sat there going, soon.
But yes, I've changed the format of the award slide. So basically, rather than me picking four and then I guess picking one and getting the choice for them, we're basically going to pick one or two from each of the categories and just kind of have a little discussion of what we chose. Because I thought it would be a bit more interesting than just me going, here's some options, choose one.
I mean, it makes it more like nominations are in for these awards.
Yeah. It was it just made sense to have two max for each one because the video doesn't get 50 hours long.
Yeah.
But I've made it 4 for the piece of shit award just because Series 5 is a series that really deserves it.
Yep.
It just
absolutely.
There's too many to pick. I mean, if I had to pick one, I might be able to pick one maybe, but I'd be struggling with 3 others. So.
Yeah. I have had to bring this list down from at least 8.
My short list was 10. And then I realised some were kind of I don't know, maybe they're meant to be kind of bad, and then some were oh, it wasn't the worst because there's some originality, and then by the end of it, you just get to the final. I get to the final 4 or 5 I had, and I'm like, why?
Interestingly, one of them appeared in 2 other categories.
Damn.
That I've then shortened them down just to 1 category, and I'll get into that later on.
Well, of course, obviously, when it comes to when we get to things like best weapon, obviously Twitter's going to be in there. That's going to be get real. It was the best weapon of the series, hands down.
Yeah,
but,
just wait for that one.
I can't wait. Well, we're going to start with what I consider a very important one actually is the best heat of Series 5. Now, obviously, you could choose 2 max for this one. I've only got 1, but I'll let you tell me yours first.
Well, I too only have 1 for this one.
Mm-hmm.
This one was a no-brainer for me. As I was looking through the wiki, reminding myself of the heats of Series 5, there was one that stood out as most of the robots that were in the heat were excellent, bar a few, but I can look past them. Some of them performed amazingly well, and some of them didn't do so well. Basically, it's Heat H.
Heat H? Ooh.
Yeah.
That is a good one.
Wheelie Big Cheese Heat. And I think Wheelie Big Cheese flipping, I think it's Iron Ore 2? Or Axle, yes, that's it. Out of the arena from the middle is a picture that nobody should ever forget. Supernova were in there with Behemoth, I believe.
Yep.
Which was an excellent fight, which we'll get onto a bit later on as well. There's just so many good fights in this heat that I couldn't fault it.
It's got a lot. There's mostly consistency, and the only real bad robot is Granny's Revenge, but that is a joke robot.
Yeah, and to be honest, they are so meme-worthy that they may even make another appearance later on. The only other one, I wasn't sure about who. I didn't rewatch every single fight because I'd be there for years. But Wolverine, I can't remember Wolverine.
I felt bad for Wolverine because it was actually a good robot, but then put against Wheelie Big Cheese.
Yeah,
it was a bit of a shame. They actually make an appearance in one of my categories later, which is quite cool. But
excellent. Oh yes, I remember Wolverine. Yeah, it looks like a really competent robot.
It is a competent robot. That's why.
Well, there we are.
I mean, they tried for 2 series to try and get into the series.
Really?
Yeah, and they failed, and then eventually they make it into the series, they get 1 appearance, and they accidentally go too near the wall, just when Wheelie Big Cheese decides to open its flipper. That's the only reason they go out. They actually were kind of doing okay up until that point, but then they got too close to the wall. At the wrong time, wrong moment.
Shame.
And then Granny's Revenge obviously got robbed, because obviously Axor shouldn't have won that fight. We all know that. I mean, it was in the pit on fire, but at the end of the day, whatever. I don't judge.
Do you know, for a minute there, part of my brain just got all confused there and thought you'd said that Axel didn't deserve to win that fight. They were in the pit on fire. I was like, what?
And then Refbot was in there as well, because I just looked at a picture of it and I forgot Refbot fell in as well.
Refbot fell in arse first.
Yeah, it was a very, very competent, and it almost made it actually on my list as well, He H. It was in my short list, He H, but there was one, for me, that every single time I go back to it, and thankfully I went back to it relatively recently. I absolutely adore it. It's the first semi-final. Oh,
Is that technically a heat?
It's a heat.
Okay, because I didn't know that going in, and if I did, I would have definitely said semi-final 1.
Well, we can put it as your second choice if you want.
Sure.
We'll
Can I put Heat H as my second choice, because I prefer the semi-final 1 over that.
I always count a heat as like an episode, sort of.
Okay,
I don't
fair
mean
enough.
strictly heat, technically, but I mean, come on, this
It's this
semi-final.
terminology, it's confusing.
I know, it's a bit confusing, I guess, but no, I mean, there's no denying this is one of the best semi-final heats ever.
Yes, most definitely. I rewatched it just before you put your review out, because I knew it was coming up and I had to do mine, so I wanted to see who else was going into the final and how well they'd done. And my god, it's such a good semi-final. In fact, it's just such a good episode of Robot Wars in general. I think there's no real bad fight in it.
No, I mean, the only one I don't like is actually the Razor fights, because I don't know, they both result in Razor Crush win.
Yeah.
But the rest, I mean, both of Chaos 2's fights against Wild Thing and Bigger Brother are some of the best fights as well.
Oh man,
They're just...
We're coming back to them later on as well, or one of them at least.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, I have to agree then. Semi-final 1 is where it's at.
It really is. I mean, again, I just love the frantic... even like the very first fight with Bigger Brother and S3, it's just so frantic. Like, almost getting flipped out the arena, then they almost go in the pit, then one goes in the pit, and it's like, damn, this is the first match.
Oh.
Then straight into Chaos 2 and Wild Thing. It's like, holy crap, this is better. And
then Spawn again got their comeuppance.
Yeah, I mean, they got a bit unlucky in their losers melee, but, you know, only because damage was counted more. That's the only reason they lost it.
They've had worse luck.
Yeah, they've had worse luck, and they've also had worse robots. Series 6. But we'll
Cough out your insides.
We'll get into that one next series. Oof, that'll be fun.
I'm so going to be there for that one.
Oh, I'm sure we can preserve you for that. It's quite real. Right, it's like one of the first heats in the series anyway. It's like heat C or D or something, so it's really early on. But then we come to the worst heat.
Yes.
I guess I'll let you go first again on this one. What have you chosen as the worst heat for Series 5?
Well, I have gone, probably controversially, I don't know, for Heat A.
Heat A? Well, okay, I mean, I'm willing to hear your reasoning.
Okay, so Heat A is Chaos 2 versus not a lot of other direct challenges. The closest they come to a challenge, I would say, is against Smidsy. And that fight was restarted stupidly. And yeah, I don't like it.
It's a bit of a downer on the first heat, isn't it? Like,
yeah. It's the first heat of a series you expect to be explosive, massive, oh my god, it's so amazing. And they try and make it that, but then you have Beast versus T-Bone in there, and Obsidian against Smidsy, and everything just comes crashing down.
It really does. And then Steel Avenger and Tartan Terror, the best robot ever.
Oh god. Tartan Terror were on my Piesta shit award until such time as I couldn't even be bothered.
It's not even worth wasting your time on it with that robot. It really is. Like, it's a joke robot that's sort of not a joke robot. It's kind of weird. It's not weird kind of both category where it's sort of trying, but then you realise it's not. I
mean, it's tough, I get, but it's... no.
Yeah.
It's the spiritual ancestor to the kegs, though, which is...
That is true. And I do love me a bit of kegs. I do.
It was the fact that kegs worked as actual kegs as well.
And they actually had a weapon on them.
Yeah.
I don't know what Tartan Terror's weapon was. This axe on the floor or something it had that spun around. I don't know.
As far as I could see, their weapon was confusion.
Pretty much, and they ended up hitting themselves in confusion instead.
Yep.
As they died. And then the rest of the heat just kind of goes how we expected, except for that really weird heat final with the rematch in it, which shouldn't have really happened. But
no, it definitely should have gone to the judges immediately after they were both counted out mobile, and Smidsy, I think, probably would have won it.
I mean, it's mad. It's like it's weird because like they seem to not do it with other matches. Like if in the case of Firestorm and the Morgue last series,
yeah,
if they wanted to consider that a rematch, well, they probably would have, knowing our luck nowadays. But You know, they didn't with that one, so I'm like, what's wrong? And also, they did it later in the grand final, didn't they, with Firestorm and Hypnodisc? But at least they had the legitimate reason when they couldn't make it. Here it's just like, oh, we just wanted to get Chaos 2 to get in the semi-finals against the champ. It's the twice champion. We need to get this thing in the semi-finals, I guess. So
Yeah, but everyone loves the upset, surely.
no, I do. I'm just saying what they're thinking. I'm not saying what I'm thinking.
Oh yeah, if I was in their shoes, definitely would have put Chaos 2 through, because you can't not. But I mean, you could, but
It was a tricky one, to say the
Yeah.
least. But my least favourite heat was one I honed in. I knew this was going to be my least favourite right from the... I didn't have to think, by the way. I just had to just clarify I was checking the right letter before I went for it. It's Razor's Heat. Heat K.
do you know, I very nearly put Razor's Heat.
I hate this. It's funny, both of them contain champions.
Yeah.
Our choices. But it's just... They really didn't try to give Razor a challenge.
Nope.
I mean, the biggest challenge I had was Big Nipper, and that was an accident. And they only broke them by accident.
Yeah, Big Nipper.
Tried, at least.
Yeah, this is definitely their birth, and they get better and better as the series go by.
I mean, they even admitted that this version was rubbish.
Yeah.
Because it was too boxy, and the weapon was just a simple lifter. It wasn't as unique as it could have been. And then every robot in this heat. I mean, damn. Suicidal Tendencies breaks down, so we don't get to see them again.
Yeah, that was a big sucky moment, really.
There's Accident, which I don't even know what happened to this. It lost Destructor Bubble, which really says more about your build quality of everything.
Accident, I think, really stood a chance of being somewhat competent, because it looks like a really good machine.
It does, and then it just died. after
Destructor Bubble goes through.
Yeah, Destructor Bubble didn't even properly KO it. It just kind of it got caught on the ring, and then it just died.
Yep.
Then there's Widow's Revenge with the stupid kind of wives and girlfriends of Razor Team going against them, and their robot was really bad as well. Like, the only reason they got in is because they can market it as that. I mean, I couldn't see any other reason why this robot would get in.
No, it made good storytelling, and that was it.
I know it was like a charity robot as well, so maybe that might also have another reason.
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
I think it's like a breast. I think it has like a breast cancer awareness on top of it or something. But it's something like that. I mean, that makes it at least something. But the actual robot was just wow. And then there's Rick, possibly the most undeserving Heat finalist in this entire series, who just kind of got in because Suicidal Tendencies broke down, and then they just slightly lifted up the Sugar Bowl and then killed them. It was wow.
See, I used to really like Rick. I can't remember why.
I actually like Rick. I like the kind of compact nature of Rick. I just kind of wish it was good.
Yeah.
It just kind of isn't. Like, it actually has. It looks like a robot that actually could have been okay. Like,
don't forget Something was just
something.
there.
I forgot Something was in this heat. Oh yeah, Something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They lost to Widow's Revenge somehow.
Again, that is pretty bad. That's two bad losses in a row for them now. Like, pinning themselves to the floor and then losing.
That was such a shame.
Yeah, and then losing to Widow's Revenge, and the Heat final was just. Ugh.
They could have won that in Series 4.
Yeah, this is just. I just can't believe how underwhelming this is for the future champion and current twice reigning foreign champion.
Yeah,
it's just. I mean, there was no hiding it. Like, at least with Chaos 2's heat, there's like Steel Avenger and Smidsy and stuff. Like, I don't know. At least there's like sort of like mid.
There are some other all stars in there, some big names in Robot Combat. Yeah.
Yeah, here there's not. There really
Whereas it is
nothing.
Literally just Razor Something
and Suicidal Tendencies.
Suicidal Tendencies, which broke down.
And that would have been a way better heat final.
Well, Suicidal Tendencies Razor.
Yeah, because at least those two actually earned their place in the heat final.
See, I wonder whether they would or wouldn't, because at this point Suicidal Tendencies was also a Crusher, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, yeah.
So it would be Crusher on Crusher, and as we've already stated, Crusher fights aren't the most thrilling.
No. Wow, even the potential for this heat was rubbish. God damn. Yeah, this is a fun heat. It went straight in my mind as soon as I thought. I was like, yeah, Razor's heat.
Yeah, the thought did cross my mind as well for this one.
Next, I guess we're going to the. I know we've talked a lot. We've been bashing a lot of with the piece of shit. A lot of these kind of first round robots, but I think it's best to pick the best first round loser, honestly, because they gotta have some love. I think.
Yeah.
I'll go first for this one.
Yeah, go for it.
And I've got two for this because there was a few where I'm like, it wasn't many. Like, I excluded robots that were returning robots like Thermidor or something like that, or been in previous series.
Yep.
Because I felt like that's too easy. Thermidor's just unlucky anyway. Of course, it's going to happen at some point.
Yep.
But I chose Wolverine as one of them.
Interesting. Yep.
Purely because I love its design. I love the fact it was actually decently fast. It had an okay weapon. Like it was, if it were going against a few of the robots in its heat, it probably could have made it. But
yeah, as said earlier, it's a competent machine.
It could have had a good match against Axor or something, something like that. But no, it's against one of the biggest flipper in the entire series, and it had to go against the wall at the wrong moment.
Yep.
And the other one is Trouble and Strife.
Interesting.
Because my god, this thing managed to almost take out Wild Thing in the first round, which I never thought I'd ever see. I get for a first round. It's never appeared in any of those series before then, and Wild Thing. I mean, obviously, I know Wild Thing definitely deserved the win in the end, but it's the fact they actually gave him any trouble at all is kind of funny.
I gave them Trouble and Strife.
Well, exactly. I mean, really, their only problem was the fact they weren't very maneuverable. I think that was the only problem with that robot.
See, I prefer the later Trouble and Strife team machines, so Revenge of Trouble and Strife with the spinner flipper combo, I think is a really cool design. I'm not the biggest fan of Trouble and Strife itself.
No, I mean, it's a bit of an awkward design, admittedly. Like, try to put two types of weapon into one, not as effectively as the later ones. But I at least admire it for at least, going in as a seed and not just dying instantly or getting, just basically being fodder. Like, I think it's possibly one of the only seeds that got a judge's decision in their first round.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Because that alone makes it into the high, compared to something like Big Nipper or something, or Storm Force.
Christ.
These robots are really they had no chance to go against it. Or, I'm trying to think who else. Or even unfortunate robots like Gravedigger going against Tornado.
Yeah. Gravedigger really didn't perform this series.
No, I mean, they were axed against the Giant Pusher. One was going to lose. Sooner or later. But those are my max of two choices. What are your choices?
I whittled this list down to one.
Okay.
I did have robots, as you said, like Thermidor in there, but I agree with you that they're not like the first time we've seen them, so they can have their chance in other categories, perhaps, except Thermidor doesn't, so there.
No.
The robot I've gone for is Supernova.
Ah, that was almost on my list.
Supernova did an amazing job of almost fully breaking Behemoth. In fact, Behemoth were in a really bad shape after that fight. Their bucket was all bent up, and I don't think bits of it were attached very well afterwards. It proved that there could be competent spinners in this series, and not only that they could go quite a way to defeat what the Behemoth team described during Extreme as indestructible.
Yeah, and it's really strange because aside from the side panel bits, they didn't really change the robot that much to Series 6.
No.
They didn't need to.
Well, Supernova hasn't really changed that much even now. I mean the biggest design change was Series 9, but even in Series 8 it looked somewhat similar to it did back in Series 7.
And in Series 9 it's still basically the same concept for the robot. It's not like it's gone it's not like it's not a vertical spinner or something, it's like a flipper. It's still the same giant disc on a small robot.
Yeah.
I mean, it was even bigger on the Series 9 Supernova just by how small the chassis is compared to the other one. And that's saying a lot, because Supernova looks like a toy car almost, size-wise. I mean, again, I think the funniest thing about this robot is the fact it comes from the Oblivion team.
Yeah.
And no one expected this to come out of them. I have no problem with the team at all, but their robots have never been never been outstanding in any way.
No, this definitely was the shocker for them.
I mean, the fact they lost in the last series by Sawpoint just rolled over them. That's the only reason they lost. They lost in 3 seconds, one of the fastest KOs ever, and it comes from Sawpoint on Oblivion 2. Never thought I'd see the day, but But yeah, I mean, I almost put this on. It was so close, but I wanted to give it to two other robots I thought later on never did as much overall. Wolverine didn't even appear again after this.
Yeah, see, this is the thing with the best first round losers. When I was going through, because again I didn't watch every episode to plan for this, I watched bits of episodes to see which one I preferred, and this list was made out of robots that appear in future series, big names that maybe first appeared here or didn't do so well here but have gone on to do great things, and in fact Supernova, yes, they've gone on to do great things, but also they did pretty damn well here.
Yeah, it was one of the best kind of like robots to go against a seed.
Yeah.
I mean, it also kind of fucked them up later against Crustacean in the second round because they didn't really perform as well there either.
Well, exactly. They did lasting damage to them, and yeah.
Still the robot that's still done the most lasting damage in this entire series is Decapitator accidentally. Which still makes me laugh.
I had to go back and watch that fight just to see what you were all on about in the last podcast, and good God, I'd forgotten about that.
I mean, technically it was Firestorm's fault, but it's the fact that it was Decapitator was the whole reason it happened in the first place is just brilliant.
Yes.
That was still one of the funniest pun names ever. It just will be.
Yeah.
And I guess actually that does lead on quite nicely to funniest design of the series. Because it's not all about destroying things. I'm having really slick design. Some just want to have a robot that just does nothing, but at least looks fun doing it. I guess I can call this the sort of like the Pièce Resistance Light Award.
Yes.
I'd say more like the Immortalis / Death Warmed Up Award, where it looks so rubbish, but god damn is it funny.
Absolutely.
And I guess I guess you did two in a row. I guess I'll do this one.
Yeah, you go for
it. I chose to me the only obvious one was Granny's Revenge, because my god, these guys thought of putting a doll, like just a doll of a old granny on someone's like cart or something, like a little thing they drive around in, and just made a robot out of it.
It's the fact that they came back again with it as well. I don't think this was their only appearance, was it? No,
and actually they had Purple Predator as well in Series 3.
God.
So they really got a weird track record of making odd robots, but nothing. I mean, Purple Predator at least looked like a robot under the fur.
Whereas this was Granny's Revenge.
I mean, this is probably one of those robots that kind of comes under the loosest category of robot, because it's literally a motorized wheelchair but with a doll on it.
With kicky legs.
Oh yes, of course, and the chainsaw in Series 5, and then had the axe in Series 6, which
did nothing.
No, it didn't do anything either time. It didn't have the legs in Series 6, it just kind of had the little...
It was a three-wheel scooter in Series 6. I don't know what they were thinking it was going to do, but still, hilarious.
There's that really funny picture I've seen on the internet of like Granny's Revenge just kind of sat there waiting the qualifiers while a Mini Morg is behind it, and it's like this really normal robot, and then they just curd up and this thing is there. And they're like, what the hell? I mean, obviously, let's face it, this is a robot only got in for the comedy factor, which I adore, which I'm fine with.
Yeah.
I have no problem with robots getting in there once in a while. Plus, it led them to obviously put them against Hypnodisc in Series 6.
Yeah.
And oddly enough, they didn't do anything to them. It was actually Barbara's that did the work. But they've set on fire both times, which is perfect.
Yep, it's the best way to go.
And just for that pure comedy factor, it had to be my funniest design. It just had to be.
Well, you'll be pleased to know that Granny's Revenge was one of my two that I had on my list.
Oh, okay.
Because you can't not.
Yeah.
The other was Rough Dougal.
Oh, I'm sure Wayne's happy right now.
And I think what made Rough Dougal even more funny, and I said it last week, was when the jet of air comes out the ground and blows Dougal's heads off.
Oh, it's I mean, it's just cute as well. I don't know what it is.
It is. It's a brilliant design. I love it. It's probably one of the most iconic robots out there. Not for the fact that it is so iconic because it does so well, for the fact that it's just such a lovely design, and like, I can't explain it in words good enough for Dougal because he's such a good boy.
It's really wholesome as well. Like, I don't know what it is, I mean, there's something so innocent about Dougal, and it's just funny seeing it in the arena getting like destroyed. In a slight sadistic way, but it's just kind of funny as well. Now, here's a question: do you prefer the classic Dougal or do you prefer the pink Series 6 Dougal?
Classic.
I like it more when it has its little coat on.
I do and I don't. I think there's something very pure about the Series 5 version. I
love the little checkered coat it has, and like, it doesn't have it in the battle, unfortunately.
No, well, that's like Donald Trump's hair, isn't it?
Yeah, and also it's got the signature wagging the tongue weapon.
Of course.
Which is, granted, it's probably one of the more original Spike weapons. It's like on like a cam, isn't it? And it just kind of turns round all the time.
It is basically what Cassius Chrome has two of.
Pretty much. And it just makes it hilarious to me that it took so long for Gemini to defeat this thing.
Yeah.
Which, again, I don't know if that's a credit to Dougal or credit to the fact that Gemini's weapons was outdated by Series 5. I don't know.
Let's call it a bit of both.
Because Dougal it wasn't the lightest robot in the world. It was just over 90. But
I think it was very wide, wasn't it?
It really was, yeah. I can imagine any other flipper flipping this thing over, but I think just Gemini's just got lost underneath it.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'll admit I did forget about Rough Dougal, but I would put it as an honorary mention on mine as well, I guess, because goddamn, good old Dougal, and also Wayne will be pleased as well. So
yes,
that is something. For that also actually these do actually move on quite well actually, because the next one goes to most entertaining award.
Yes,
and bit confusing those. I think I chose teams and you've chosen robots, I believe.
Yep.
But it doesn't matter. Get perspective on both of them. So, which robots have you picked in for yours?
So for most entertaining, I've got 2 robots here that got 2 different reasons. Okay. So first of all, Fluffy is one of my most entertaining robots. Ooh. For the most part. I think that they really did shock everyone, bringing in probably the first big brutal bar spinner in the competition with their so-called hammer spinner type thing. I can't remember quite what they called it. But I think they did incredibly well. They managed to break Pussycat, which caused quite a bit of a scare. And I think from an entertainment point of view of, oh my god, they could actually take this. They had you on the edge of the seat until such time as they died.
Yeah, it's a very weird looking bar, isn't it? Because it spins backwards, doesn't it, for most of the time?
Yes.
I mean, but it's the fact that they just completely destroyed, returning, semi-finalist and heat finalist just out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And then almost defeated the second seeds.
I mean, I don't think, apart from obviously who took them out eventually, Firestorm, I don't think there was anybody else who gave Pussycat a bigger scare.
No, there wasn't really. It's a shame actually their very first appearance was in Extreme 1, where it was very underwhelming. Yeah. Where it just kind of died. And which is, I guess, is...
Because they were trying to get into the Annihilator, weren't they?
Yeah, they were against Arnold A and Wild Thing. Which is funny, because Arnold A ended up winning that one. And then Fluffy just kind of got chucked into the pit, which is a great flip, honestly, from the floor flipper. I mean, there's not many robots that go straight into the pit from there.
No.
But it's even got a GIF on the wiki, that's how good it is.
It is an amazing shot. My other most entertaining robot is a robot who is going to come up again later as my only pick, but I think they did probably the best they've ever done. Every fight was exciting with them in. It is, of course, Bigger Brother.
Ah, classic.
I've sort of gone for a robot and the team. You can't not love Joe and Ellie. They are adorable, and I will fight anybody who says that they are not. I mean, the fact every time they win a fight, they do the funny little dance as well. I mean, there's nothing like that in any other team. I'd love to see the Razor Boys, if they won, do the funny little Bigger Brother dance. But yeah, I've gone with them.
And for the most part, they never really had a boring fight either.
No.
Like, it's really weird actually, because when you first saw Bigger Brother in Series 4, it actually looks really good, and you think, oh, it's a good improvement on the third one, which was just a wedge, pretty much.
With a weird thwacky thing.
Yeah, with a tail that just fell off somehow. But yeah, the Series 4 one, you're like, yeah, right, okay, it looks good, and then it can barely flip over. It can't flip over Hammer and Tong. It takes 5 attempts to flip over Claude Hopper, who's got really bad balancing issues when it gets flipped over. Yeah, and then in Series 5, it's straight away tip tops out, Splinter just out, and it's like, holy crap, what is going on here? I mean, the only robot they managed to successfully flip over in Series 4 was Claude Hopper, and then in one of the tag teams they flipped over Scorpion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Brilliant.
Well done.
Brilliant, and they survived 6 seconds in the sumos, and they didn't really get a very good score in the pinball either.
No.
I think they equal 5th, actually. I mean, it's okay, but I think for a robot decently maneuverable like that, I could have done a bit better. But then, out of nowhere, everything just disappears. And it's brilliant.
It is the last robot standing in the arena.
It pretty much is, yeah.
Most of the time, anyway.
I'm just disappointed it never flipped out 3 Stacks to Heaven. The one robot White Sea flipped out the arena.
Yeah, I think 3 Stakes is a very awkward shape. You see that flip where they're right up against the wall, they flip them, and then they just pivot in a really obscure way. They are one of the most difficult robots to get out, I think. So, credit where credit's due for them.
Definitely. For my most entertaining, I know it's boring, I know it's cliche, but I think also because they also did quite well in the series, despite...
Are you about to go Sir Chromalot?
No, I was going for Dietor.
Oh, that's all right then. Thank God.
Because Dietor, again, it's a joke robot, but it's a joke robot that can actually fight. Under the right circumstances. If it's against an opponent that's not just a big flipper, it's actually really good.
If you look at it from a robot perspective, the fact they took out Tornado...
Well, that alone put them on this list for a reason.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just the fact that they could do that. And, I mean, I still don't know to this day what exactly happened with them, whether it was just ground clearance issues, or they just they lifted them up a bit, or they just were... the battery power. I don't know what it was, but they just went in there and just out of nowhere just took out the most promising newcomer from Series 4, semi-finalist, just out.
Yeah,
done.
Oh.
And yeah, and it's all this. So yeah, it just makes you laugh at the fact they just took both their opponents out like that, and then they just kind of just get flipped. They were against Spawn again in the Heat final, which is not the best robot could have faced, but kind of expected outcome. Given the fact that in Series 4 they basically got flipped over in an instant, and they had no weapon.
Yeah,
that was a depressing series for Dietor, Series 4.
It was, and they'd had to. No, I think I've got confused there. Did they have to rebuild it for Series 4? It was Series 3.
It was Series 3, but in Series 4 they also had mechanical issues. So basically they were just back in like the side bit again, trying to fix it.
Yeah.
And then it was overweight, so it had no top panel and its weapon wasn't working. They had to disable the weapon because they couldn't fix it, or it was too over heavy or something.
Such a shame.
Yeah, and after all that, they lasted like 4 seconds in the sumo. And then the only time they did all right was in that celebrity special when Vic Reeves drove them.
Yes, I love that special.
That was like it almost redeemed them in Series 4, but not enough because it was the celebrity special. But he got to the final at least of that one.
Didn't Pussycat beat them?
Yeah, Pussycat beat them, I believe.
Yeah, that's a shame.
Their illegal tanglement device.
Hey.
But it's just that, and also the fact they also had that really dumb stuff in Extreme. I'm not going to reference Extreme too much, but I think it's one of the times where it does add to it. Where they had that really stupid thing with stealing the quote-unquote, really important items from Firestorm.
Oh, that was so dumb, but I love it.
The only consequence, though, it actually does slightly annoy me. Apparently, that was part of the reason, potentially, why they didn't get nominated for sportsmanship in Series 5. Which is really dumb, because that was a manufactured thing.
I mean, at least it works for consistency.
It does, but it feels a bit. I feel bad that they don't get. Imagine they're always nominated for it. I guess it just makes one different.
Yeah. Again,
you always see the same 3 teams every time, so I guess they wanted to put Pussycat win in the end. So I guess it's someone different.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just thought just purely because it's improvement and also the fact that they're just as entertaining as ever, that I just had to put them in there because it was entertaining. I mean, I'll never stop smiling when I watch that tornado fight because you'll never see it again.
No.
Ever.
Well, that's the thing. They even showed it in the World Series of Robot Wars in the reboot. When Dietor made its return, they showed clips of the classic series, and that was one of the clips was them pitting Tornado.
It's also the last main series they appear in.
Yes.
Because the only appearance they make after this is the one-off return for the tag team with Pussycat, and in Series 10 special.
Yeah.
And
so their last domestic series.
And it's the only time they fought Tornado as well. And who can say that the last time you fight Tornado you win?
I mean,
I think Razor's Razor. Apart from Razor,
Storm 2.
Well, the good robots, and then we got Storm 2, Razor, Dietor. You know what I mean? It's just really weird, isn't it?
I mean, that's an embarrassing kill streak. Yeah.
But yes, I guess we're moving on to Best Improvement from Series 4. Now, there are a few robots I can put in this category. I'll let you go first for this one again. Who do you put down?
I have 2 picks here again.
Mm-hmm.
And strangely enough, they've both just appeared.
Okay.
So, first of all, Bigger Brother.
Yeah, that's
because as you said, Series 4 was a bit crap. Series 5, second place. To go from there to second is just incredible, their journey that they were on. And yes, they did get a lot of help in the pits to get it back into that final fight, but I still state that they are deservedly second place in Series 5. No team, I think, worked as hard, apart from maybe Firestorm, who had the most fights.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely Bigger Brother was my first thought for that one. That was a no-brainer. From what we've just been talking about, I'd also say Deertal.
Ah, of course.
Because
go from that.
Deertal, as you said, were overweight, in bits, trying to get it fixed again in Series 4. They come back Series 5, beat Tornado. So, yeah, these two, I think, are probably the best improved, in my opinion. I'd probably go Bigger Brother over Deertal, though.
Okay. Actually, Bigger Brother's also one of my choices. No surprise. Because let's face it, it was a big improvement.
Yeah.
My other one, actually, is S3. Because they came from Sting.
Yes.
Of all robots to come from. And Sting, Sting was just... It was there. Sting 2 actually got beaten by Deertal, actually. Was also just... It looked nicer than Sting, but it was still just as bad as Sting. So it never really did much better. And then S3. Out of nowhere. Like, what happened here?
Yeah, well, exactly. They managed to carve their way through Plunderbird quite spectacularly. Yeah, I agree. They did incredibly well in the heat. They're quite an odd design. I would say the grandfather to Killy Cranky, I guess.
I guess so, yeah.
But yeah, S3. I'd completely forgotten. I'd actually classed them as a new robot. I'd forgotten they were derived of Sting.
Yeah, because S stands for Sting. So it's like Sting 2, and Sting 3. Which, again,
that makes sense.
They don't make a big deal out of it. I think they just mention it briefly when it first appears in Series 5, and after that, they never really kind of mention it again. But I don't know, because Sting was very forgettable.
Yeah.
So no one really remembered it. So it was like, oh, it must be a new robot. But no, it's. I mean, they didn't appear in Series 4, and they must have done a lot of improvements between then, because they didn't apply for Series 4. So they must have been working on this one for ages, and the effort has shown, at least.
Yeah.
And then they do the same approach in Series 5 as well. Series 6, sorry, as well, where they, they actually get to exactly the same place in Series 6.
Yeah.
So, you can't call them nothing but consistent.
It goes to show that they were a really decent designed robot.
Yeah, and nothing like their previous robots as well.
No.
I mean, I think I might in the future. I'm considering doing a top 10 list of robots that came from really weird robots previously, and them and Firestorm are like the two poster child for.
Who did Firestorm start as?
Groundhog in Series 2.
Oh, of course they did.
That robot on stilts, pretty much.
Yeah.
That somehow was the only robot to make circle over balance himself somehow. But yeah.
God.
Yeah, you'd never guess, would you?
No, well, it's like Robot the Bruce turns into Chaos 2.
Yeah, I mean, those are the kind of robots I'm going to try to put on the list at some point, because it's just, damn.
Yeah.
No one would guess that. But, yes, we're moving on next to the best battle of Series 5. And I only have one. But
I too only have one.
But to me, it is... I'll go first on this one, I guess, because it's just brilliant. It is Bigger Brother versus Hypnodisc.
Ooh.
I absolutely adore this fight. Purely for tenacity alone, Bigger Brother gets, plus points for this. Because it was... I mean, is wrecked a light term for it? It was beaten, scarred. The only thing that was intact was his backplate, which they must have doubled up on.
Well, the backplate itself, I think, originally was the thickest part of armour they had, which is why they started the fight facing Hypnodisc with their back.
It was like the only part that didn't get completely mangled.
Yeah, and even then they started to cut at it.
Yeah, and the weapon was like horizontal.
Just hanging off.
Yeah, they tried to use it.
And they kept trying to use it, yeah.
It's like when someone breaks their arm and they try to use it, and it's like, oh god, oh no, we can't, no, this is not moving. And it's about, it ends up like horizontal by the end of the fight. Like, you never thought I'd see Bigger Brother with a horizontal flipper, but there we go. And then they somehow pull that victory off at the last moment. It looked like a desperate attempt at first with the pit button, but then they actually got a perfect drive in, and Hypnodisc couldn't do anything about it.
Nope.
right in the
They
pit.
were gone.
And if that had lasted the full 5 minutes, Hypnodisc would obviously have won that. But it's the fact that they managed to get that. At one point, another big shock in this series, honestly. It's right up there with Tornado and Dietor.
Yeah, the moment that they managed to pit Hypnodisc for me is like the moment when Behemoth pits Apollo in Series 10 of Robot Wars.
That's one of my favourites.
Every time I just leap out of my seat and do the exact same thing that Ant Pritchard does, just punch the air and go, yes!
It's one of the best pittings ever, and one of the best out of nowhere victories ever.
And the same can be said, I think, for Hypnodisc versus Bigger Brother.
I mean, this match made the grand final for me.
Yeah,
honestly,
it was probably the best fight of the grand final.
It was better than the grand final.
It was.
I mean, after all the effort, and what does Razor do? What Razor
make
always
holes.
Does. Do you know what I fancy? More holes and more grabbing onto the robot. Which spent 3 hours trying to fix him, only to just give it a really mediocre fight at the end.
They're just crackers about cheese.
Not even Wensleydale. Before we do Wallace references, what is your choice for the best battle then?
Well, my choice, we go back a couple of episodes from yours. Chaos 2 versus Wild Thing.
Oh, now that's a fun one.
This was immediately down on... I think this was the first thing I wrote down, looking through what judging we had to do for this, what different categories. This was the first one I immediately went, right, okay, this needs to be this. As they say in the episode, and you were saying it all through the podcast that you did with Stephen and Mark, Chaos 2 versus Wild Thing will go down in the annals as one of the greatest fights in robot history.
I mean, it's still amazing to me that Chaos 2 almost got pitted twice, and both times it was just a slight thing that, Wild Thing got upended or something, or its weapon got stuck or something. Yeah. It just couldn't get it in every time. At one point,
they managed just to tip back very slightly.
It's hanging on the edge on the second one, to the point where the producers even pulled off the pyrotechnics.
Yeah, someone went a bit early with the pyro.
And it turns out, I was like, oh, no, it didn't go in. Never mind.
Premature, what?
I'm not getting to that one anytime soon. That is a private issue.
I should see somebody about that if they want that fixed.
No, I just like Spawn again had some problems with the explosions. But no, this was a good fight. Honestly, it's possibly it's the best fight, or at least one of the best fights. You could also classify the other Chaos 2 fight as well as a good fight in the first semi-final, but this is just one of the best ones. Period.
Just crazy that
it's chaos.
That it should have gone that way. It literally was chaos.
It's chaos and wild. That's what it is. That was the perfect two robots to fight each other for this.
The things could not be more wild or chaotic.
If only Berserker existed in this series. But oh wait, it was Twister, wasn't it? Never mind.
Oh.
No,
I'm going to save that.
Well, I mentioned something bad, and of course, with every best battle, you've got to have a worst battle, or a couple, depending on how you've chosen it.
Yes.
I really, to be honest, to me, there was no other choice. It's so bad. I think some people even consider it the worst battle of the classic series. In terms of it's just what it's up there for me. Napalm and Warhog.
I was going to say, how could you just choose one?
There's a few bad battles in Series 5, granted, but this one always forever... I think part of it comes from the possibilities of what it could have been. Because we saw Warhog in Series 4, and while it was very uncontrollable, that weapon does damage.
Oh, it really does. I absolutely love Warhog. I think it was the first body spinner, I want to say.
I believe... Oh, no, it was Caliban, technically.
Yeah, but no...
Oh, close enough then. It was the prototype for full body spinners, I guess. Then.
Yeah, it's more like what we see nowadays. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. This fight, because the fact Warhog ripped apart part of Dreadnought, and it only died because it killed itself, pretty much.
It went on a piggyback, didn't it, in Series 4?
No, that was Series 6 with Smidsy.
Ah, yes.
It didn't do well in Series 6. At least it actually worked a little longer, but in Series 5. The weapon
didn't spin, didn't fairly move.
I think they forgot to turn it on or something.
Probably.
Happened. And it was just slow robot otherwise. It's really boring. Without its weapon, like all full body spinners, it's useless. because it can't do anything.
Controversial statement.
Very controversial indeed. Yes.
I suppose better full body spinners nowadays have wedged spinners, so your gigabytes and megabytes of the world manage to out-wedge things still, even if their weapon is dead.
I'm talking about Series 5, though.
No, in Series 5, we haven't got a clue what's going on.
No, and it's such a slow robot. Napalm is just... Well, sorry, Napalm 2. Sorry, the better one. Which is actually worse than the original Napalm, which managed to survive 2 series, but whatever. And it's just
dislike all their robots, in fairness.
Yeah, and this could have been such a fun fodder fight. It really could have. Even if Warhog ends up dying and losing, it would have been fun to watch it get destroyed a little bit. But what do we get? 2 slow robots pushing at each other for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It reminds me of Napalm's fight against Caterkiller. It's exactly the same thing.
God, this went to the judges, didn't it?
Yeah, it was a 5-minute fight, this.
Oh my god!
5-minute fight of 2 slow robots, not barely working.
Can you imagine if you were in the audience for that?
I would never pray that on my worst enemy. I really
I'd have
wouldn't.
I'd jumped off the stands.
And that's why it's considered like the Mr. Speed Squared versus Foxic fight of the classic series for a reason. They're almost as bad as each other. Honestly, if I had to pick one or the other, I really couldn't decide which one was worse. Possibly this one because it's longer.
Yeah,
but on TV we don't see as much of it. But I don't know.
Thank God.
It depends where you're sat, really. I probably see less of it than we do of the one of the Mr. Speed Squared and Foxic fight. But even then, it was a no-brainer for me. This one was just painful. But I'm quite curious what your choice is then.
Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot I haven't given mine. Yeah, for me, there were just so many that I've chosen 2.
Mm-hmm.
Firstly, Sir Chromalot versus Rohog.
Oh Jesus!
For the precise reason that Sir Chromalot fails to flip Rohog at least 3 times, and then Rohog goes and dies in a corner without doing anything.
Somehow.
The other is Claude Hopper versus Twister.
Oh boy! I mean, damn.
Oh God!
Oh no, I forgot.
I had suicidal tendencies after these fights.
God, imagine. I mean, I will only give. Right, I agree that both those fights are bad, but with the Claude Hopper one, there is only.
You're about to defend this fight.
No, I'm not defending the fight. No, the fight's shit because there is no fight. No, I'm talking about the only thing that I actually found entertaining with it, because why I sort of remember it in a way was Jonathan Pierce having fun of the fact that Claude Hopper was taking ages to push him into the pit.
Yeah.
That was the only thing I found funny in that entire thing. The Sir Chromalot and Rohog one, there's no excuse for that one, I think, though. I can't think of anything in that I found funny, apart from watching Matilda wreck Rohog deservedly for being so bad that the wall killed it before Sir Chromalot could. And I don't think Sir Chromalot's ever killed a robot ever, so that's saying something. It still hasn't killed a robot. I mean, that does not count as a KO. Rohog killed itself.
Yeah, it committed suicide having seen that it was up against.
The funny thing about Rohog, it almost made it into my list of PS to shit rewards, but I gave it a slight pass because only for the pure sake that his weapon was at least sort of unique if it was rubbish.
That's alright, I've got them later.
I know you have. I imagine you would. But I just... Yeah, I agree that both those fights are absolute pants, though. An honourable mention for me also might have been T-Bone versus Beast.
Yep.
Because
they were one I had to take off the list. I watched it and went, see, at least the spinners sort of worked for the first few seconds of the fight.
And actually, one I also almost considered as well was Evolution versus Sabretooth.
I didn't even consider that one.
Because it's so bad. That's probably what it's so forgettable. I mean, yeah, there's so many bad fights in Series 5, but I think we got some good ones there, I reckon.
Yeah.
Now moving on to best weapon of the series. And I believe this is your choice first for this one.
Right. Well, my best weapon, hands down, has to be the most destructive robot of the series, Hypnodisc.
A classic, but not undeserved.
They ripped apart several machines. In fact, almost all of the machines they went up against, to the point where they had to have a full team rebuild them. I'm, of course, talking about Bigger Brother there.
Yep.
They just tore everyone up, and even those they didn't tear up, they say Bulldog Breed, for example, that amazing snipe hit where they just take out the link, and that was that. Or was it the batteries they took out? They took out something important.
It was the link, I believe.
But yeah, just you had a 1 in a million shot. Thunk, there it goes.
And then do you have to press F for atomic?
Yeah, well, you can do, but that fight is amazing, and I'd happily watch it day in, day out.
Oh no, I'm not doubting that the match is amazing. I just felt so sorry for how badly beaten Atomic got, to the point where they couldn't even get into the Annihilator because of it. I think it's funny because they actually they started off really strong against Hypnodisc as well, and
they did,
and then the flipper flew off, and then everything went to shit.
The front fell off.
The whole robot just died. Like it ripped up. The back was ripped off. The front was peeling off. They had the weapon was in like 3 different places.
To quote Chris Rose in BattleBots, "It's a bot only a mother could love."
I mean, I just love the Quill and Pierce quote in the battle. It says, "This is a really good battle they're making here." Oh, until that moment.
Yeah.
I think we know which moment they're talking about there. Because wow. I mean, again, nothing will. I mean, as much. I mean, I think the only robot they never like flat out really like absolutely destroyed was possibly the Dominator 2 or Black Widow, because with Dominator 2 in the case they just sort of just disabled one of the wheels and then left them.
Yeah,
and
again they should have counted Dominator out at that point.
And Black Widow just like lost a leg, I think, or something. Like
Black Widow, I think, were originally on my PS to Shit awards, but I had to take them off because they lasted a bloody long time against Hypnodisc.
And they didn't really get destroyed either. The frame actually kept, the frame they had kept up, and they only lost like a leg or two or something. Like,
I felt bad putting any walkers into that award
I felt like
they are a feat of engineering.
Plus, they're at a disadvantage already. Like,
yeah.
If you're not a shuffler or something like Anarchy or Drillzilla, then you're already like a -1 without having to start. So unless you're Claude Hopper, in that case you're perfect in every way.
Yes. Nobody can say a bad thing about Claude Hopper.
I wish I was original, but unfortunately I picked Hypnodisc as well.
Yay! I'm glad you agree.
I couldn't.
It is just the best weapon.
It really is. Although I give honourable mentions to S3 against Plunderbird.
Agreed.
Because damn, I mean, it didn't do much. I mean, there wasn't as much damage in the rest of it. I mean, I guess you could count Mousetrap, but Mousetrap's not really solid.
No.
I mean, I mean, that's a fight that deserved more than it should have, though. I will admit. That shouldn't have gone as well as it did. But, I'll give him some credit there. But I think, yeah, Hypnodisc just is the king of spinners. And in the classic series, it just always will be. Until, things like Typhoon started getting a bit more...
I think it's popular. As of, Series 6, they start to get outdated and outclassed.
Yeah, because they never really fully break a robot in their first round, do they?
No.
Like, Granny's Avenger is already dead. Barbarous just gets, one wheel bent, and then 4x4 doesn't get any damage on it apart from the rag. Pretty much. So, yeah, they started showing their age a bit more there. Well, things like Supernova just taking out, Ming like it's nothing.
Oh, Supernova just becomes the brute of the competition, really.
It's just beautiful, isn't it? And then you have Series 7, where all you've got is Typhoon just breaking the arena every 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Thanks, Typhoon.
Thanks, Typhoon.
Brilliant. But we'll get to the worst weapon, and...
Is it Typhoon? No, he wasn't in.
Not in Series 6, anyway.
We're in Series 5.
Yeah, we're in Series 5 right now. I should stop talking about Typhoon. It's, again, one of the words, the more I keep saying it, the less it means any sense now. Typhoon. But, yes, worst weapon. There's a few to pick from in this one.
Again, I had 6 here originally.
What? I guess you have 2 choices then.
I do have 2 choices.
Go on then.
Alright, first of all, it will come as no surprise that Twister is on this list.
Well, which weapon are you talking about?
All of just Twister in general is... Why is the spinner covered? Why is the spinner both vertical and at the same time adjacent to the body? And then why is it covered?
I have no answer for that, to be quite honest with you.
Just what is going on?
Oh, by the way, one thing I actually found out about Twister, which made me hate it even more, right?
Yeah.
The front of it is the pointy bit. The flipper bit is the back. Which I, for years, thought was the front. But no, it is actually the backwards in my mind.
I have no words.
I didn't have any words when I found that out either, because I realised, because when I watched this fight one time, I was like, why is it going backwards? And then I went, oh.
This robot.
Oh. Oh, that's
Oh,
why it's going. Oh,
God.
that's not even a flipper. It's
Twister.
supposed to be like a jaw or something. Like it says a flipper on it. But
What?
It doesn't move. It's called a flipper, but I doubt it because they don't use it as a flipper for the 2 seconds they have it. They have it open the entire time. And that spinner. Sorry.
It's not a spinner.
It's called a bludgeoner. Sorry, I'm wrong.
It's not even that.
I'm just going by the information I'm given.
The revolutionary stop sign of doom.
Yeah, and it's the fact they've even got those like Series 2 wheels as well. That's the kind of thing you would see on like Bumblebot.
Yeah, okay, I may have got very, very confused, but the wheel setup in there did remind me a lot of Trident.
Yeah, it's got a very. It's only got 2 wheels though, which makes it even more awkward looking.
Right. Okay. I imagined the third wheel on each side.
No, it's got 2. It's like they're like diagonal to each other. Like a very slight diagonal. And then their Series 6 version, just to mention it, because I think we'll never mention this thing again, but the Series 6 Pussycat ripoff. Ouch.
Do you mean they entered again?
Yeah, if you go on their wiki, it's Series 6, they failed to qualify the rope with Twister again, but it looks like Pussycat and the bludgeoners at the back.
I can't even remember which heat Twister was in.
It was in the last heat, Heat L, I believe.
Save the worst till worst.
Yeah, it was in Pussycat's heat, because they went against Claude Hopper, so yeah, it would be in that heat. Yeah, they entered like a Pussycat rip-off. It basically looks like Pussycat, but no saw on it, and the saw is like in the base of Pussycat.
And this is from Team Berserk.
Yes, the team that gave us Berserk 2 in Series 3. I just can't.
What?
I mean, they went from a competent, for Series 2 super heavyweight to a really durable heavyweight in Series 3 to a not as outdated, but okay, it's okay in Series 4, but then damn.
That is literally Pussycat.
Yeah, it is. The thing is, it's also. I mean, I know that I've said this before. I know they didn't mean it in any way, but it's sort of slightly insensitive given the fact that David Gribble had just died in Series 5. So I know they didn't mean it.
God.
It just kind of it's accidentally bad taste somehow, and it's just I mean, we've talked about Twister. You have a second option, I believe, don't you?
Oh yeah, damn.
I mean, we could talk. We've got Peter Shit Award. We can talk. We can rant about it more if you want later. Oh, damn.
Oh, trust me, I will. My other choice for worst weapon was Monad, or Monad, or however you pronounce it.
Oh, sorry, my ex-wife, as Conte.
Yes. Now, I think I must have deleted this machine from my mind, but my God, it was funny to watch. I very nearly had this on my PS Shit Award, but I had to take it off just because I found it too funny. The fact that it rears up is why is it doing that? How is it doing that? And then you have this terrible little grippy thing at the front that looks like it's just falling off for most of the fight.
Also, how did its weapon fall? How did it fall off? And it's got that weird thing at the back. It's like the fan-looking thing.
Yes, it's like streamers coming out of it. It's like, why?
And then what was laugh is they later used most of this for 4x4 as well. So it's pretty much the same robot as 4x4, minus that it's most of the internals are the same apparently, and some of the armor.
God, Monad is just hilarious, and now I'm just in love with it. I think I'm gonna have to steal your wife.
Steal my waifu for lifeu. I mean, it's also kind of sad to think about because after Dietor's retirement in Series 5, they were the sole Irish representative in Series 6 and 7, I believe.
Top-Bot?
That same team.
Oh.
Same team, yeah. They were the only one in Series... Because they also represented Ireland in the International Championship, but then lost. Because they couldn't get...
Well then.
They couldn't get past the qualifier. That's how good Top-Bot was. The robot's disc fell off in 2 seconds.
It's worth mentioning that Anthony from Two Penny Milk, his version of Top-Bot is better than the actual Top-Bot.
I think that's very hard. That's a very low barrier. I mean, it's really good. I mean, I'm not. That's not taken away from anything Anthony has done with it, but yeah, it's like you've made a robot better than Top-Bot. Well done. No, I love you, Anthony. Yeah, the robot's brilliant, but Monad is fun.
Yes,
but it's fun bad, sort of in a way.
Yes,
there's nothing about this robot I can take seriously.
I had Monad on most entertaining as well for all the wrong reasons. I had to take it off.
I didn't even think of this one for PS to shit, just because I love it too much. And, in more ways than one, apparently. But my 2 choices are actually different, at least. I've got some different ones, because there's so much choice. I chose Juggernaut 2 for 1.
Nope.
Because Flipper, apparently.
Nope.
I don't. Does that count as a weapon? The Flipper that doesn't actually flip.
Does Juggernaut 2 actually count as a robot?
I guess if it competed, it counts.
Mm.
If Granny's Revenge counts as a robot, this thing can.
Mm.
I mean, this thing used to have self-writers apparently, but they had to butch like half the electronics for it.
We'll come back to Juggernaut.
Yeah, we're definitely going to come back to Juggernaut too. So yeah, just everything about this robot didn't work, and its weapon didn't work. So brilliant. And another one, which is a robot I was actually watching before we recorded, just because I couldn't remember. I had to go back and remember what this robot weapon was, because I wasn't sure if it had
remember
one.
how bad it was.
Well, that, and also I couldn't remember if it had a weapon. I had it in my mind it was a wedge. But no, it is Gesundabot.
Yes.
It has a little flail thing, and this tiny little panel that's a flipper, and I think I pointed that out to Mike, and he couldn't believe it.
Gesundabot was another one that was on this list, and I took off because they're going to appear elsewhere.
Although one really fun fact about Gesundabot, which really makes me laugh, is the fact that have you ever seen Rossetti's Rogue replicas?
Yes.
Yeah, Gesundabot did really well in one of the series because that flail does so much damage. Because that's the thing. Because certain weapons do a lot of damage in like Robot Arena 2 because they cause a lot of points. And
it's like nuts when it spins round in RA2. It's every time it hits you, you take like 500 points of damage.
Yeah, that's what Gesundabot, because Gesundabot had a massive wedge, and all it would do is keep lifting the mace and just hitting a robot till it died.
Mm.
And in Robot Arena 2, that's amazing, but in Robot Wars, it doesn't translate very well.
No.
It's just funny. I think it's one of the only robots I can think of that's actually 10 times better in replica form than it actually is in the main series.
Them and Topbot.
Yeah, and Topbot. That's good. But yeah, just purely because I forgot I had weapons in the first place, I had to put it onto the worst weapon list, because that's not a good sign if you forget there's a weapon on it, or two weapons on it, in the first place.
No, I'm with you for Gesundabot. They were on my list, as I said, so yeah.
But now... Dun dun dun.
Is it time?
It is time for the PS de Shit Award. Excellent. My favourite award, because normally I only have to choose between like 2 or 3 robots. Here, shortlist of 10, you had 8. I'm sure there's a lot of cross-breeding between a lot of those ideas. Because we mentioned probably most of them on our list already.
Yeah, in fact, all of mine have been mentioned now, yeah.
Actually, in that case, you might as well mention yours first then. So.
Right, so, from top to bottom, Juggernaut 2, because just die.
Okay.
Rohog, because unacceptable.
Just insert a meme of Lemon Grab from Adventure Time now.
Yep. Gesundabot.
Fair enough.
I can't defend it. It got turned over and then did nothing, and that was it.
And I'm just preemptively writing your last robot because I know it's going to be Twister.
It is Twister, yeah!
I do it. I absolutely do it.
Because Twister should not exist. The fact that now I know that the Berserk team made this, it's even worse.
It's 10 times worse for that reason.
And also the fact that they copied Pussycat in Series 6 makes it even worse again.
It's a big crime, isn't it?
It is. And Juggernaut 2, God, it's huge. But it's not as good as huge.
It's a huge boy, isn't it?
It's ridiculously long. What was Juggernaut 1?
There's no pictures of Juggernaut 1, unfortunately.
Right, so idiot name.
It was an axe, at least. That's all we know about it. And funny enough, because of that version, in its the battle card in Series 5, it says there's an axe.
What?
It does. For some reason, they just forgot that this doesn't have an axe, and also its pictures is a side shot of it.
Right.
So,
well, I'm going to claim false advertising on Juggernaut and say that it makes it even worse again.
Oh, I'll show. Oh, God, correction. Sorry, no, I just looked at the screenshot. It's not an axe. It's a powerful axe.
A powerful axe.
Apparently so. I'm going to call bullshit on that. I don't believe it.
If I were writing the card for Juggernaut 2, its strength would be yellow, and its weakness would be robot.
Now, I'm going to say, before you mention the other story, actually 3 of my robots are also on your list.
Good.
Rohog was on the list.
Right.
But then I actually... Because Juggernaut 2 goes on the bottom Twister. Yeah, they're deserving. But I honestly forgot about this robot until I remembered how annoyed it made me, given... Because, it's the same vein as Twister, right?
Right.
It came from a really promising team. They had a great robot in Series 2, an excellent robot in Series 3, Series 4. Then they came to this thing. Hippopotamus. I hate this row. I can't stand hippopotamus at all. Like a sort of fighting talk, whatever you want to call it. It's the same fucking robot. I'm sorry, because they used it because they had that pyramid-shaped one in the Annihilator qualifier.
Yeah,
Then they
this is a team that did progressively worse as they went on. I love the talk machines of Series 2, 3, and 4.
I don't like small talk. That's the one I don't like.
Really?
Only because it feels like a downgrade, because the Series 2 and 3 ones, their whole basis was they're massive, powerful ramming machines. They're basically Tornado before Tornado existed.
And then they put a gear on as a spinner.
Yeah, and it just looks too small. And I don't know.
I get you. I like and at the same time dislike it. But then, was it All Talk in Extreme?
Yeah, All Talk in Extreme, they had the one that's like a pyramid with a skull on it.
And then for some reason, Hippopotamus.
And also the team also branched out because they had they're basically the two halves of the team made different robots. They made fighting talk, so they had this one and the hippopotamus, and the other half made bot out of hell. So it shows you how well that team did in Series 5.
See, I quite like Hippopotamus. I think it's quite memey, and I can't say a bad thing about it except for the fact that it's a child sandpit, and what do you expect?
No, I get that, but I don't know. I think it's just the expectations I had from them talk. I don't know. It's
I suppose
I'm just trying to, because I mean I've always said in Series 3 one of my favourite fights in Series 3 is All Talk versus Thing 2.
Yeah.
I love that fight, and then seeing it in Series 2, just damn. Like, that thing is so fast, so powerful. Series 3 version is basically a refined version of it with a better scoop. Better kind of interchangeable weaponry. Actually had a good fight against Razor in the international special.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, this thing is great. The Series 4 version is still a okay robot. I mean, I'm not going to say it's bad. I mean, it for what it was worth, it was fine. I just never liked it. But I still thought it was still the downgrade. And then this one is like they didn't even try. It's like, right, we're just going to make a joke. And it's okay if you make jokes, like again, if PS Resistance, Diator, Circhrome, yeah, those kind of robots are the teams that can get away with it. I feel, or even like the Top Bot team. You know, none of their robots are that great.
What happened to All Talk for them to need Hippopotamus?
Or even Small Talk. What about All Talk in Series who made them go, nah, we don't need this?
Well, I'm pretty sure that it's the same disc type thing on All Talk that was on Small Talk, because it looks like the same sort of disc.
Yeah, they use it as like a hammer, don't they?
Yeah, it's the first, I would say, overhead spinner, even though it doesn't do that.
So the first, technically, I mean, I put my technical glasses on here. The first overhead spinner was Disruptor, I believe, in Series 2.
Ah, fair dues.
I think that's twice now that I think people have forgotten Disruptor exists.
Well, if we're getting into it, the first overhead spinner, realistically, is Dead Metal.
You shut your face, you. No, I'm joking. Yeah, of course, yeah, technically. Dead Metal is the original.
Technically speaking.
Technically, yes. But, no, I just can't forgive All Talk and All Talk for making this.
I think I can understand that. How do I phrase this? I find the team more unforgivable than the robot. It's not the robot's fault that it's a hippopotamus.
Yeah, well, it goes hand in hand, though, doesn't it? Like, if the team's bad, if the team's going to make a robot this bad, then the robot's going to turn out bad. And then, in turn, it's going to annoy some random guy on the internet 20 years later. What do you expect? So, you can't win with anyone. I mean, Bar Hell wasn't that great, but at least I could say it's a robot, you know?
Sort of.
I don't know. Like, again, I kind of like the idea of it. It just doesn't look it wasn't very stable.
Well, Out of Hell sort of looks like a tricycle.
It pretty much is, really. I don't mind it though. Again, it's one of those first round losers a lot of people don't like, but I'm just kind of like I like the pun alone.
Yeah.
I like the little. It's got some personality to it. It's got a little robot on it. I kind of like the idea of it. I just wish it was more stable.
I looked at them for this award and then thought, no, I can't put them in. I like them too much.
I didn't even consider it. I was just like, yeah, I kind of like it in a way. I just don't. I literally just can't get over the plastic sandpit.
Whereas Rohog can just jump in a hole.
Oh, Rohog sucks. No, I'm giving you that. Rohog, there's no forgiving Rohog, because it's even more annoying because it actually has a unique weapon on it which I think can only lift like 60 kilograms.
Yeah, this is the like articulated arm type thing, isn't it?
Yeah,
they've got two of.
It was actually kind of like it's surprise. I never thought I'd bring this robot in this episode. It's very similar to kind of Robo Pig's weapon, where it comes out, lifts up, and then goes back in again.
Yeah.
Although that was literally like a piece of metal, so that doesn't even count as a weapon barely. But yeah,
What I want to ask, which of these robots are we saying is the worst of the worst?
To be honest with you, if I had to take everything into account, the team, the robot itself, the performance,
I can already see where this is going.
it's actually I would probably put Twister.
I would agree completely.
Okay, yeah, All Talk had 2 great robots and stuff, but okay, Berserk only had one, granted, like really good robot, but it was a robot that had so much potential.
Yeah.
And then they basically did the same thing for Series 4, and it didn't work out, so they tried something different. I can respect them trying something different, but this was not the way to make something different. I mean, also, I never thought I'd say this, but give Hippopotamus credit, it didn't actually die.
Yeah.
And the only time it did die was against robots like Disco Inferno. Give it credit. That's a robot, that thing, massive disc.
Bearing in mind the Disco Inferno team actually said, yeah, we're not going to last this, we're expecting to get it ripped to shreds, and we want it ripped to shreds, and then they go ahead and do amazingly.
Yeah, exactly. Against some kind of big spinner, I'm not surprised, but it was against Stinger. I mean, it's still a decently powerful robot for what it is, but I don't know.
I think Hippopotamus versus Stinger is a really good way to show off the fact that Stinger can do decent damage.
It definitely does. I mean, I always thought things like, especially in the Series 4 heat, that was like its pinnacle.
Yeah.
Damage it can cause, but Twister just has nothing redeeming it. Like it's against essentially a fodder robot in Claw Topper. Yeah.
Now, one robot I was considering for this award was Dome.
I honestly forgot Dome existed, to be honest.
Yep.
I mean,
as did I until the start of recording. Dome were there.
It had that weird trebuchet weapon, which was literally just a saw on like a spring arm that just kind of flew out the robot.
Dome is ahead of its time, and in 50 years' time, we will all have a Dome.
Everyone has a Dome in their house. Also, I just need to point this out that Dome has technically beaten Vader in its qualifier. That's the only reason they got in.
That's upsetting.
Yeah, they got in because they beat Vader, and then also as a result, Vader didn't make it in. Wow.
Vader's a really good robot.
So, well, I guess the Series 5 version wasn't, clearly.
Well, no, clearly.
And there's also a picture, in that same picture, it's got its trebuchet out, and it just looks like a limp dick. It just does. Like, because we never really see it properly in the fight against Dietor, because it just gets flipped over and just kind of falls out of the robot. But it's a pizza cutter, and like those like little things you get at like shops, those little grabbers. It was like one of those.
Oh, Dome.
But it's broken on one side, it just flops about.
Dome is too memey to even go into this award, so that's why I haven't now put them in.
The Honourable Meme Award.
Yeah.
Goes to Dome. Who are,
a new award I wish to bring in for your series is Honourable Meme Award.
I know who's getting it for Series 6 at least, anyway.
Yeah.
Ooh, oh boy. But, yeah, I agree with that. One day, in 50 years' time, we'll have a Dome Day. Everyone will have a pet Dome in their house. Everyone will appreciate Dome. Everyone will have cone heads like the team. Dome, Dome, Dome. It'll be all Dome. And, we call Domes Day. Forever and ever. Everyone will have Domes Day celebrations. Everyone will have a trebuchet with a pizza cutter on it in its honour.
All ceremonies, you have to fire the trebuchet.
At the same time, and then stick some Dietor.
3, 2, 1, Dome!
It was ahead of its time, and definitely...
Dome is the best of all of us.
Yes, it is. And with that bombshell, that is the end of our awards, which is a little bit longer than expected, but we got some good discussion, nice talks, and memes at the end of it, I guess.
Yes.
So that was the Series 5 awards, and next time... Series 6 is upon us. I got past Extreme, thankfully. I got past Series 5. On to Series 6, but I really do... It's probably the least watched series apart with Series 7, for me. I like Series 6 and 7, I just never watched them as much as the rest of them.
Yeah.
So this will be interesting.
Series 6, I think, is the one I remember most because I was of an age that I can remember it. I think it was one of my first... series that I remember. I think probably Extreme or Series 4 were the first ones I watched. But yeah, Series 6 is the one I remember most.
And also, I get to talk about I think it's in Heat B, but I get to talk about my being a Lancashire man myself, we don't get much representation in Robot Wars. Overall, until very recently, although one of them is, we have Big Nipper at least, and also not just I think just outside Lancashire, but close enough as we have Eruption as well. So we've got a few things going. I think it's Warrington. I think they're from, aren't they?
I'm so sorry for you.
Yeah, all we had, I think prior to that, all I think we had was Megahertz, Colossus, and Cedric Slammer. And guess what? They all get killed in the same fight.
Yay!
I mean, I nicknamed that battle the Lancashire Massacre for a reason. I mean, the only reason Megahertz won with Firestorm was because they were the last to get flipped over.
Yeah.
And Cedric Slammer got stuck on its self-writer. So, yeah, there's that as well. And Colossus was just bad. But, with that lovely tribute to Lancashire at the end of this and some memes with Dome, I thank you, Jevan, for joining me for this awards ceremony.
You're very welcome, and well done.
I think we've pretty much covered everything we need to know about the laws of the universe, life, big questions, and clearly which robot should we lighting candles and vigils and respecting for the rest of eternity. And also Twister sucks. We've worked that out as well, which I didn't have to tell you that, but I'm sure if you didn't know, you do now.
You do.
So, yes, with that, I am Jimjamatic, signing off.
I have been World of Woodrow / Jevan Woodrow / that guy who has been on for 2 shows now.
And I'm the guy who's been on every show, making the show that you're listening to.
Yes.
See you later, folks. Bye.
Dome!